Good afternoon, and welcome to the very first live stream, member live stream that's available to everyone. Only members may comment, but anyone may join us every Wednesday. So if you're not a member, I've put a link down below in the video description so that you may join if you wish. I also believe if you try to comment, it asks you if you'd like to join. And these streams actually happen 4 days a week. Sundays, 10:30 a.m., and then Mondays through Wednesdays at 4 p.m. But I just thought this would be an organic way to let people know about the conversations that we're having regularly and allow you at least the opportunity to listen in. Now, wouldn't you know it, on the first day that I decide to do this live for everybody, nothing frickin' happens in the news. So I was like, oh my God, what are we going to discuss? I didn't want to start with an Ask Me Anything. That's the last 10 minutes of the stream anyway. I was like, that's pretty lame if I do that. But then I was like, oh, I know. Everything yesterday was about HBO Max, and it was funny because the HBO Max presentation was the day that Disney Plus took over Twitter. So you had HBO Max trending, but then Disney Plus at the top. So, the streaming wars, so much drama, so much fun, and so much content. It's a ridiculous amount of content. So I thought we'd talk about the streaming services because a couple of people have asked me to. And I've decided actually to rank them in the order that I like them. So that's the ranking that you're seeing there. So just to give you a little bit of a heads up as to how this works for everyone who's joining us who's new. The way I do this is it's usually 3 stories. So what I'm going to do is I highlight the story as I'm talking about it if you're watching this after the fact. So I'll be like, oh, this is the story I'm discussing, then I'll move on to the next one. And that works as visual cues if, again, you're not watching this live and you want to fast forward to a certain story. And then always at the end of the stream, the last 10 minutes, or you can ask me anything that you would like. This is how every stream works, and you're getting a chance to see that today. Now, before I get into my thoughts about the streaming services, another tradition that we have is that I always like to take a moment to say hi to everybody and ask where everyone's streaming from. Well, don't call me Lev, poor Peacock. It's not last. It's not last. So that's what I like to do. I like to find out. There's always a little bit of a lag in terms of what I'm saying and what you're seeing, so I have to wait for you guys to catch up to me. But I'd like to know where everybody is streaming from today, and it's nice to see people watching from all over the world. So let's see here. Chris is in Queens. Rafael is in Brazil on a break from work, finally joining in live. Mr. Vitamin G1 is relaxing with BTT after gym. CJ Parker is on the rainy Upper East Side today. It's very rainy in New York. Austin is in sunny Phoenix, while Martin's in Sweden. I like to get descriptions where everybody's watching from. That's why people are giving me some context. I think that's always so much fun. Evelyn is in Chile, a busy day at work. Karen's in Maryland. We have Sime from Croatia. Andy's in Columbus, Ohio. A lot of people tuning in today. It's moving very fast. I even have it on slow. I think I put it on slow. Pastor Madeline is hiding in her office in Ohio. And for those of you who don't know, Pastor Madeline is actually a pastor, which I think is wonderful. We'll do like a couple more. Venderson Valley is in Texas. Carlos is in Colorado. Helen is in Harrogate, New Yorkshire. Let's see here. We have BZZ from Switzerland. And then Emilio made it live from Machu Picchu, Peru. That's very cool. All right, so you also got a little bit of a chance to see where everybody's watching from. Austin, I thought slow was on. Sometimes if you resave something, it doesn't work. YouTube streaming. All right. Hey, Nina. Welcome. All right. So let's get started. So again, as I said, I've ranked the streaming services in the order that I feel they belong. And sure enough, Disney and Warner Brothers continue to go head to head. Universal is usually supposed to be more competitive, but it's early days for Peacock. All right, we'll get to Peacock. All right, so anyway, I put Disney Plus first. And the reason I put Disney Plus first is, well, I think date has something to do with it. It launches in 2 weeks, whereas we have to wait until May 2020 to get HBO Max. Both had lovely presentations, though. But Disney Plus has, I think, the MCU shows. I think that's like a really big deal. I think Kevin Feige has brilliantly already woven them into the storylines, and he's also giving everyone their fan favorites, right? You want more Wanda, you want more Falcon, you want more Bucky, you want more Hawkeye, which now people have mixed feelings about, but you got to go to the streaming service. So I think that's very good. I think there's also the strength of the Disney brand. Everyone has an emotional connection to Disney's library, which is also extensive. There's so much stuff that's going to be available and stuff that you can watch multiple times. Disney movies, Disney animated shorts, old Saturday morning cartoons brought back. I think it's very, very strong. So I think Disney Plus is first. But then I think that HBO Max rallied quite well yesterday, and I would actually put it in second place. Netflix is sweating it out. Don't worry, Netflix still has a lot going for it, but I did demote Netflix to third place, and here's why. First off, I think that HBO Max is HBO, right? And they also said, hey, if you get HBO Digital, as in not through your cable provider, you're already paying for HBO Max. They're just going to upgrade you to all this additional content. So even though it is a higher price point than Disney Plus, HBO Max is still the same price that HBO costs now. And HBO has a lot of content. I liked when yesterday in the presentation they were like, there's so many people who've never seen an episode of Deadwood. And I was like, is Deadwood really worth going back and watching? I don't know about that. But there is True Blood. There was Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones is coming back. I don't know how rewatchable the old... but I'm not a big rewatchable person. I can see the joy in rewatching sitcoms, but I don't really get the idea of rewatching dramas so much. Especially, it used to be that, like, you needed something to watch, so you'd go back and watch old TV. But there's so much new TV coming, you don't really necessarily need to do that. But still, HBO has tremendous programming. The strength of that brand is ridiculous. And they have so many great shows coming up, which they spotlighted yesterday, so I think that's amazing. Then, of course, Warner Brothers has amazing brands overall. They've got DC. I don't know how strong it is what they're planning so far, but you know, DC is the brand of a gabillion chances. So I think they're going to eventually hit a home run there. Game of Thrones, as I said on my coverage for HBO Max, no matter how you might feel about Game of Thrones Season 8, you're going to watch House of the Dragon because it's got a bunch of dragons in it. So you're definitely going to watch that. And then, hey Jay, Harry Potter will eventually come into play. I heard a rumor today from a BTT viewer, so take it with a grain of salt. I haven't vetted the source, but someone said they are working on it. I heard rumblings that they're going from trusted sources that they're trying to go after Cursed Child. So I think Harry Potter will eventually show up at the service. So HBO Max has HBO and the strength of the Warner Brother brands. Sesame Street, I'm interested in the Elmo talk show, and I'm not even a big Sesame Street fan. So I think they have a lot of really good stuff going on there. So I'm excited about that. All right, so yeah, Cersei, they have a Cersei show on HBO Max, but it's got nothing to do with DC, which I find a little distracting. All right, so that's those are the first two. Now, I put the next grouping of, as you can see, Netflix, and then surprisingly, Amazon's pretty high up there, but we'll get to Amazon in just a moment. All right, so the reason that Netflix is third place is that I do feel they've been hit hard by not only the loss of their library of content, no more Friends, no more The Office eventually. They are getting Seinfeld, but I don't really know if Seinfeld's as popular as it once was. So I don't know if that's as good a replacement. And also, I think that HBO Max and Disney Plus are so strong that I would be sweating it a little bit if I were Netflix. I'd be like, damn it! They're popping Alka-Seltzer like crazy watching these presentations. But anyway, Netflix still is the Coca-Cola of streaming. They were still first to market. They're still, when you think of streaming, you think of Netflix. And also, I have to say, Netflix has, I didn't even put Hulu on here, Alberto. I didn't even put Hulu on here. It's basically Disney Plus adjacent because you can get it as a package. Anyway, Netflix, I think one of their strengths is that Netflix has the ability to surprise us with something you didn't even know you wanted, right? Like we have very high expectations for Disney Plus and what we can get out of HBO Max, but nobody knew about Stranger Things until it became something. How about Ozark? How about Sabrina? How about The Haunting of Hill House or Unbelievable or The Umbrella Academy? I think that Netflix A lot of their shows might disappear into nothingness, but for every one of those, well, every 4 of those, let's say, there's like 1 or 2 that are like iconic. So it would be hard for me to give up on Netflix. And also, I think their movies are very impressive. Roma, The Irishman, right? And Marriage Story. And I love what they're doing with their movies. Ozark was weak, Austin. That's not true. But The Irishman is premiering at the Belasco this weekend. Sold out my showing. I'm very excited. I'm going to see it again because I want to see it in a Broadway theater. I caved. And Marriage Story is coming to the Paris Theater here in New York. Oh, you're right. Mindhunter, Andrew. And they don't promote these shows. So that's why I forget about brilliant shows like Mindhunter, which is very sad. But yeah. And before Kevin Spacey imploded, House of Cards was amazing. The Marvel Netflix shows. There's a lot of good stuff on Netflix. And also, Netflix's price point still relatively low, so it would be hard for me to get rid of them. All right, then the reason I put Amazon in 4th place is because Weston, I didn't include CBS either. There's too many streaming services. But I think CBS is still a little bit too niche. Oh yeah, you're right. Glow, Cole. There's so many good shows on Netflix. There's a lot of good stuff on Netflix. All right, so Amazon. We're talking about Amazon, though. Amazon's like, I exist. They do exist. Amazon, though, poorly advertised and oddly an extra when you get guaranteed free 2-day shipping and television shows. They do have really amazing content. Amazon also makes movies, of course, but they have such a long theatrical window that they don't really seem like Amazon movies, right? But, for instance, Miko, you're right. Fleabag, fantastic show on Amazon. How about Mrs. Maisel? Also, like Fleabag, winner of multiple awards, deservedly so. Then, shows that don't win awards but are very good. And I enjoyed Sneaky Pete, for instance, for a while, but Sneaky Pete kind of went away. But Jack Ryan starts on Friday. I'm excited about it. I hope I can find some time to watch it, but I'm excited about it. And then, of course, as Mexican 8 Nacho just pointed out, The Boys. I think The Boys could be transformative on Amazon Prime, and I'm very excited about season 2. Oh, so fantastic. Yeah, and Karen said she just discovered Fleabag. Fleabag is very good. It takes a couple of episodes to get into it because the characters are very unlikable at first, but it's really an amazing show. I really loved it. I binged that thing like nobody's business, especially season 2 with Hot Priest. Everyone on the face of the earth will find Hot Priest hot. It's ridiculous. It should come with a warning sign. All right, good for you, Andrew Scott. I'm so excited that he got the Talented Mr. Ripley show coming to Showtime, which is like, are we even still in this? I don't know, Showtime. Are you? All right, so I guess they'll have to roll themselves into CBS All Access or something because they're all owned by Viacom. All right, then, 3rd grouping, Peacock. The worst name ever, but also hilarious. So Peacock is the name of NBC Universal streaming service. So why is it above Apple TV? Well, first off, it's free. It has ads, but it's free. You don't have to pay for it. So that's fantastic. So I think it's got that going for it. Then also, for those of you who are wondering why I keep saying Hot Priest, that's actually the name of his character. Well, it's actually just Priest, but everyone refers to him as Hot Priest. And once you watch Fleabag, you will understand why he's called Hot Priest. It's crazy. All right, I don't even want to give anything away. It's amazing. All right, so I was surprised how far they took it. All right, but I loved every minute of it. All right, so anyway, Peacock is free. Speaking of Hot Priest, Peacock is free, but also they have The Office. So The Office is really big for them. They got The Office. They're bringing it home, so you can watch The Office with commercials, but for free. All right, so that's the only thing that Peacock's really got going for it. Then Apple TV. Apple's an amazing brand, but as so many people have already pointed out, there's no new free content for Apple TV. It's just a couple of shows. And I gotta tell you, I don't really understand the point of any of them. I haven't gotten a chance to review For All Mankind. I got with the HBO Max thing threw me off my schedule. But I was like, I don't understand. Like when you're gonna do, basically I'll just tell you right here, For All Men, because I don't know if I'm gonna get to review it at this point, but if you're gonna do a show where the Russians land on the moon first, wouldn't you then just do something that took place a long time later instead of like the day after or the day of, and everyone's like, damn it, Like, it just seems like there's not enough time to really see the ramifications of that, quite frankly. I would rather have the show start off with the Russians landing on the moon first, and then you fast forward like 30 years, and you see how that's changed society. But right now, it's just a lot of really frustrated people. What's happening with Aaron? I don't see anything. Oh. Aaron's just being silly. But it's not offensive, so I shall allow it. All right, so unless it gets really annoying, then let me know. I can block people on here, just so you know. All right, so Apple TV. I think they have no brand when it comes to content, which people don't particularly trust them. I will say, though, that the Apple TV shows, they certainly spend a lot of money on them, and they all look fabulous. So that's good. I honestly feel that Apple, while they should get into the content business, because I think they're worried about all their stuff being torn off of their, whatever they're calling their site now, because iTunes doesn't exist anymore, Apple TV and movies, I still think that they should just sell their content for like a la carte. I don't think I should have to pay a subscriber fee to get all of it. I think they should be like, just like any show on Apple or any movie, they should be like, hey, are you interested in watching this? And if you are, you just pay for that individually. I would pay to watch the morning show. And it would be cheaper, I think, than paying for the service because I don't think I'm going to watch any of the other shows. So I'd rather just pay for the morning show. But as Cole's pointing out, everyone's just going to become a pirate. Pirate Bay is like, this is the best thing to ever happen to us. All right, so that's my rankings of the streaming services. Of course, subject to change as the situation constantly develops. It's never going to end. Although some of these might end. We'll see. All right, so it's 4:20. The timing on this is going excellently. We have 10 minutes until 4:30. You may ask me anything that you would like. That's how this works. Anything you want to ask me, you can ask me for 10 minutes. I don't have to answer it, by the way, but the odds are pretty good unless it's like really bad. All right, so anything you'd like to ask, again, I have to wait for you guys to catch up to me. Check Film Fantastic says, Grace, go see Dr. Sleep. Oh, I'm going this evening. I'm excited. The embargo actually lifted this afternoon. I forgot to check. But I'm very excited. It's not necessarily because they feel it's a good movie. It's because it's opening overseas, unfortunately. But I'm excited about it. Let's see here. George says, any idea or gossip about what Benioff and Weiss are doing for Netflix? They're making a lot of money. No, there's no word on what they're going to do. They just became available. So I'm sure they're trying to think of something offensive and controversial right now. But if it gets eyeballs, Netflix will be happy. Everyone's going to pay attention to it. And everyone will watch the first episode. So, and again, remember, the name of the game here isn't getting people to watch all of your shows, but just to maintain their subscribership. It's a very different mindset. Oh, Anna says, favorite Thanksgiving side dish. I like stuffing. I'm a big fan of stuffing, and I like gravy. Put gravy on everything. It's so delicious. I actually like turkey the least. So when I have my Thanksgiving plate, I'm like, put a little bit of turkey on it, and then load up on all the sides. Alien, I am going to review the Disney Plus movies. Definitely. The two that will be available on launch are Lady and the Tramp, but then also apparently Noel. I think it's too early for Noel, especially if it's going on a streaming service. I would launch that like December 1st or something. Oh, Charlie Rose. I did see that Andrew Garfield got in the Lin-Manuel Miranda version of Rent. I think that's fabulous. I love Andrew Garfield. I think he's incredibly talented. He's done Angels in America on Broadway. I'm not sure off the top of my head if he's playing an LGBT character, which, which is frowned upon for straight actors to do that right now. So we'll see. Hopefully that works out for him. But I really wish Andrew Garfield the best. I think he's incredibly talented and very well intentioned. I am watching Titans Go Wan's Butterfly. I think it's fabulous. I haven't watched the new episode just yet. I thought I would be able to. I was going to treat myself to watch it after my HBO Max coverage yesterday, but it ended up being too late. So I'm going to try and maybe watch it today. Although they just gave me 13 episodes of Harley Quinn, and I really want to watch those. But I'll catch up on Titans. Oh, Daniel Mandler said, Grace, is Motherless Brooklyn and The Good Liar worth the watch? I'm trying to review Motherless Brooklyn on Friday, and The Good Liar embargo lifts November 7th. Good Liar, yes. Motherless Brooklyn, no. Motherless Brooklyn isn't horrible, but I certainly wouldn't pay to see it in a theater. Jay says, what is your favorite kind of Halloween candy? Full size. Who doesn't love an unstingy trick-or-treater, right? I love it. I remember when I was little. In the city, it's hard to trick-or-treat, but occasionally, once I went to my grandma's house, and the thrill of going up to someone's front porch, and in this case, they were not home, so they left it out, and everybody was really good, and I think I might have taken two. I was like, everyone's taking two, but they left out like a display of full-size candy bars, and as a kid especially, you're like, that's amazing. That was the most candy I ever got in Pittsburgh, she lived in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. That's where I went trick-or-treating. It was glorious. Let's see here. Andrew, I haven't watched Modern Love. Especially if it's not something I can cover, it goes really low down to the bottom of my to-do priority list. Because as you can see, I got a lot to cover. Check Film Fantastic. You have your tickets for Dr. Sleep for tomorrow night because you live in a different country. In the United States, it's only available this evening, and then you can't see it again until November 8th. Carlos, Frozen 2 predictions? Do you mean box office-wise? I got some crazy Frozen 2 spoilers today where I was like, wow. I don't know how I feel about them. Let's see how it's executed. But I think Frozen 2 will be a big hit. Let's see here. Gabriel, I can't tell you those Star Wars leaks. Apparently, a lot of them are on Reddit. Like, the whole movie's leaked on Reddit, which I think is ridiculous. It's like Wonder Woman and Star Wars. Like, the whole movie's about. I know almost the entire Wonder Woman movie, and a lot of people know almost the entire Star Wars movie. I have a good chunk at this point, and it's ridiculous. But we'll see how it goes. Brendan says, do the spoilers ruin the movie for you? They don't ruin the movie for me. If it's out there, particularly to this extent, I like to know. I'm one of those people who's like, I gotta know. And I know a lot of you are as well. But I can't give you the spoilers away, particularly because it's like a public video and I don't want, I think it's too big. It's too big a spoiler. Somebody was like, you gave away the Birds of Prey thing. Well, that's because I wanted them to change that. And people needed to be mobilized. And we did get it changed. So, huzzah! Let's see here. A lot of you are like, no tea. We don't want this tea. It's too hot. I'm looking forward to drinking it later. Let's see here. Let's see here. Make says, how do you feel about the Star Wars leaks? Like, is it good or is it bad? It's like more of the same, to be honest with you. It's like, I don't know. I think that like Game of Thrones season 8 played very much like fan fiction, and I feel like this new Star Wars trilogy is the same way. Let's see here. Scott Connor, James Caan, Matt. Matt always asks questions like this. I like James Caan. He, of course, was in The Godfather, Elf, but Scott Caan's pretty funny if you've seen the Ocean's 11 movies. But I'm going to have to go with James. Jeff says, do you think The Boys show on Amazon got a lot of subscribers to join? Yes, but the question is, did they remain subscribers? Or did they binge the show very quickly and then unsubscribe? Amazon needs people to stay subscribed. So that's important. Chris says, do you think Poison Ivy will also end up in the Batman, or will Margot Robbie insist she gets to cast it? I don't think Margot Robbie's insisting on that. I just don't think she's in the Batman. I think they already have enough villains, and I think it would have leaked by now if she was in that movie. I think they're going to focus on Catwoman, so I don't think she's going to show up. Isaac, I'm not dressing up tomorrow. I do have some Halloween socks that I have, which you won't see, but I am planning to wear orange. Yes, tomorrow is very busy. Not only is the Witcher trailer dropping at noon, Cole, I don't know if I'm going to break it down or not, but also Jumanji. Jumanji will also have a trailer tomorrow, I'm hearing. Let's see here. Valid says, do you feel like the more streaming shows, the less jobs for new directors, writers? No, I think more jobs, because it's easier to take a risk on someone to direct just one episode, particularly towards the middle of a show, than it is to give them a full movie. So I think it's great. Dancing Dog says, do you think Betty Gilpin will end up in the DCEU or the MCU? She's seeming like the DCEU, I gotta tell you. Betty Gilpin seems to have very bad luck. I feel bad for her. She's so talented. Why can't Alison Brie get any work? Is this because she's married to Dave Franco? I don't know. I feel bad. 2 minutes. I'm going to review The Lighthouse maybe at some point. I'm probably going to wait for a screener. Let's see here. When do I think we'll get the Bond trailer, Mo? I think we'll get the Bond trailer probably during the busy holiday movie. You'll definitely get it sometime, like when in the holiday corridor, like that's like Thanksgiving, Christmas. Maybe in front of Knives Out because Daniel Craig is in it. Although it doesn't seem like a big enough movie. Maybe in front of Star Wars. I don't think, Mika, that Todd Phillips will do a DC Black Label because I think Todd Phillips, the problem is, as I've said before, you need to get a producer who wants to do this because someone like James Wan or Todd Phillips, they want to tell other stories. So was his problem with Christopher Nolan. He's like, I don't want to make DC movies for the rest of his life. And everyone was like, come on, do it. But they don't. They want to go off and they want to tell other stories. So you really need a producer like Kevin Feige who wants that to be their life's work. Braden, I loved the final season of Will and Grace. They only had one episode, but it made me laugh out loud several times. It was hilarious. And I think it's so interesting that everyone on the show, an LGBT show, is ending up getting married and having kids. I think that's really nice. We have 1 minute left. Terry, I will review Midway, but it might not be until that Sunday. I'm very busy next week. Tuesday, I'm seeing both Honey Boy and Last Christmas. It's crazy busy. Oh, it's 4:30. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this public stream. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, and thank you, everyone who's a member. The next member live stream will be on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. And then if you'd like to join in, if you'd like to just visit with us and listen in, will be every Wednesday at 4 p.m. All right. Have a lovely rest of your afternoon, and there will be plenty of videos the rest of this week. I've just filmed my Terminator spoiler review, and we'll probably go up sometime tomorrow afternoon, as in the morning, I've got lots of trailers to cover. Okay.